Ladies and gentlemen, we are here at the Singapore Fintech Festival with a very good friend and somebody who's been driving innovation in fintech in Georgia for quite some time. A lot of effort gone in to bring up innovation in the region, but in particular for what has grown in Georgia. Varlam, who's the head of Fintech Development and Innovation Office for the National Bank of Georgia. Welcome to Finstep Asia Edge Podcast. How are you doing, Varlam?
Thank you, Musheer. Doing well. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you so much. It's great to see you in the region. How's your last 1 month been? I think it's a lot of traveling that you've been doing as well, right?
Thank you for your interest. It's a pleasure to be part of this interview. Actually, I started traveling more than 2 weeks ago from
Sure.
Beijing. I was invited by Alipay to Financial Street Forum. They
Yeah.
had quite unique opportunity to share Georgia
Yeah.
Fintech Development Strategy with the Chinese audience
Of
there.
course. Yeah.
And then we joined the Bridge Observer meeting in Beijing,
Okay.
supported by People's Bank of China.
Yeah.
Then traveled to Shenzhen for another observer meeting of Bridge.
Yeah.
And from there to Hong Kong Fintech Festival.
Yeah.
And now I am at Singapore Fintech Festival. We are having Georgian booth
Well,
here
this is great to see.
with
Yeah.
our 5 private exhibitor fintech companies. So we're
Yeah.
excited about our presence here.
So I'll take a step back because I know we've known you for a while. You've been very kind with sharing of what's been going with in Georgia. But what's been your journey in fintech and broadly in the blockchain world, Varlam, for our audience's perspective? Yeah.
Okay, I joined almost 3 years ago,
Sure,
Central
yeah.
Bank of Georgia.
Yeah.
And I'm head of Fintech and Fintech Development Department within
Yeah.
the Central Bank. We are supporting fintech development in the country in 3 different layers. So
Sure.
layer number 1 is to have a policy in place.
Of course. Yeah.
When we say policy, we meaning a proactive policy.
Yeah.
Because Georgia is a quite small country. Banking is already quite developed
Yeah.
because it's one of the main industries which has been developing since the collapse of Soviet Union. Our banks are acting like big fintechs because their processes, their servers, and their people are
Yeah.
quite young and they can absorb innovation like big fintechs.
Sure.
And in these circumstances, entry barriers for new entrants are even higher than in a standard situation.
Okay.
And we consider our mission as fintech-friendly regulator to
Okay.
disrupt the entry barriers for new entrants in a few ways. One, as I mentioned, is to have proactive policy. So actually what we did, we made inventory of worldwide global fintech business models, starting
Okay.
from banking as a service and with crowdfunding. And then we kind of did self-assessment of with our regulation. We
Okay.
mapped those business models against of local regulation to understand the big picture. How uh, 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 the local regulation is either barrier for new business models or is support.
Enabler. Yeah.
And in 70% cases, we got green color, which means that existing regulation is already quite supportive
That's great. Yeah.
to business models. But in 30% of cases, we still have a job to be done. But sometimes changing regulation is quite lengthy process, as
Of course.
you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes it goes even beyond mandate of central bank, and that's why we have deploying in practice such a tool as regulatory sandbox and technical sandbox
Okay.
to test in life the business models and technologies which are not yet covered or allowed by regulation. And next layer in this strategy is infrastructure. When
Yeah,
it comes to
very important, yeah.
infrastructure, in parallel of upgrading our conventional systems like RTGS instant payments, we are focusing on early stage experimentation of new technologies.
Okay.
So, as you know, our strategy is about focus with the limited resources. So, blockchain, underlying technology, smart contracts, tokenization, we are in game at early stages. And concrete example of this could be our retail CBDC journey. We are at pilot stage with our technology service provider of testing 5 use cases. Also, as you know, we are very active when it comes to international collaboration and international sandboxes. We are part of the PS Innovation Hub supported and Bridge project, new project called Aperta, which is cross-country open banking use case, and which is quite in line of our bigger vision to become fintech place for middle corridor. Middle corridor is getting new momentum now, including because of geopolitics. Trade is coming from north to this part of the world, and we are just located in the middle of middle corridor.
Understood.
We are only country in this region which has access to Black Sea, and thinking is that we couple the middle corridor, the positive trend of real economy with fintech first side. So we think that fintech, new underlying payments infrastructure can accelerate this positive trend in real economy. So that's the concept.
So for our audience understanding, could you just explain what the middle corridor, like which are the countries or which geographical area we're talking?
Middle corridor is part of the Silk Road. Silk Road starts in China.
Correct.
And, it ends in Europe. So it's quite an ancient trade route.
Yes, of course.
And we are now upgrading payment infrastructure for this ancient trade route. It's not new concept. It has been for ages there, but it needs new life now. And we think that fintech and fintech-based collaboration could be enabler for revitalize this trade route again.
I call it the
Georgia in the center of this innovation.
I call it the digital Silk Road, right? That's what I call it. We have been doing with Finstep Asia a bunch of work around bridging Hong Kong, India, and the Middle East, and the Arab world in general. So this kind of is where I see Georgia as well. And in terms of sandbox, right? You've done some recent announcements as well that came out on that. Would love our audience to know more about how the sandbox and how fintechs can from overseas engage or enter Georgia to leverage of the middle corridor.
Yes. We just announced the first draft of our Fintech Development Strategy. The reason why we spent resources on Fintech Strategy is that we achieved the stage that we need kind of institutionalization of our practical efforts. We need a better coordination of different state agencies and private sector players in order to achieve our objectives towards fintech development. The prerequisites that are in place, which I've mentioned, that banking is one of the most developed industry in the country. Our banks are expanding in this region. For example, TBC Bank is very successfully building a digital bank in Uzbekistan. They have been quite phenomenal, achieving in 2 years break-even and profitability. The other major player, Bank of Georgia, just bought number one bank in Armenia. And this kind of private sector effort also needs support from public. And this is kind of an example of good public and private partnership. And then different elements of fintech is under different agencies. For example, Ministry of Justice is responsible for EID infrastructure. We are responsible for payments. We are responsible for issuing the licenses. But to have one vision, to develop whole ecosystem, you need the elements to be in synergy with each other. And so this better effort and better kind of to be on the same table was one of the motivations why we have developed this strategy. Regarding the regulatory sandbox, we are quite active in testing the different new business models. One of the latest case we are testing now is about online FX conversions. Online FX conversion is quite growing in Georgia, and previously only banks were allowed to do this business. Through regulatory sandbox, we were able to attract fintech companies in this business. They were validated their business models. It's showed up to be quite profitable. And once they achieve profitability, now
Yeah.
they are ready to invest in open banking infrastructure.
Sure.
So we would have, via this path, first non-bank participant in our open banking infrastructure.
That's interesting. Okay.
So they would now change their background systems from card payments to open banking
Okay.
payment initiation. And this way, we support newcomers and new entrants to the market with our background infrastructure like open banking. So that's the concept of open banking deployed in practice.
And essentially, if they want anybody from other regions, if they want to get into Georgia or engage, they would come through your office.
We are working on this so
Okay.
to extend the borders of our regulatory sandbox to make it easy from regional players to test their ideas on our infrastructure.
That's great. Okay. Well, look, a lot of very information that we've heard. Anything else that you want to add in terms of the future, what people can expect, or any other initiatives that you would like to highlight to our audience?
At this stage, I think it's enough. Thank you for your interest.
Not at all. Yeah.
I just wanted to highlight that we are quite excited about Singapore, Singapore Fintech Festival, and in future, maybe we also think to organize a regional Fintech Festival targeting this middle corridor countries in Georgia as well.
I would love to come, and I missed coming to Sibili when I was in Dubai, but such a beautiful country. Would love to come and attend the event.
You are already
looking forward to that. Thank you so much. Thank you, Varlam. Audience, stay tuned for more of this as we finish up with Varlam and more insights from the Singapore Fintech Festival.